Hi, everybody. It's Linda G. I'm here amongst my flowers and good luck and goodwill. I'm doing very good. Thank you very much. And today I'm here with Andre.
Hi, everybody.
He's leaving. When are you leaving again?
10th.
But if you have clients who signed up with you, you still read them, right?
Yeah, but I made sure that they couldn't sign up.
Oh, okay. So you're taking an actual time off.
Yeah, this is completely time off. Yeah.
Okay.
Back to my homeland to visit my family, because last year we went there, but because of COVID, I caught COVID and I couldn't see my uncles. I mean, it was just a tough time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I got a lot of questions. I did write, we were talking just before we went on. Apparently, according to the news tonight, Trump said the Republicans are insisting that he take at least a temporary position with the speakership, which I know is a lie. It could be Marjorie Taylor Greene, but the whole group isn't saying, please, sir, come and sit in this committee or whatever. He's not going to do it.
No, it would be the thing about that for Trump is that if you just think of the psychology, if you take the speaker's job, you automatically invite the dozen or so very, very good articulate communicators on that Democratic caucus. They're going to come after you really hard, and they're going to start raising all the questions. The thing that he doesn't want is he doesn't want direct hits on his stuff, because he knows he's done it. That's why he doesn't go to debates. He doesn't want people challenging him. So the last thing he needs is that Texan woman or the other dude or the other person, attacking him directly, and because that would be really bad press, right?
Right.
Bad media. So I'm deeply skeptical that he wants it. I think the thing with Trump is, by saying that, he gives himself status, because he says, look how much they love me. They want me as
They
speaker.
want me to come in, even if it's temporarily. I might
Right, but I'm
see
too
if I
busy
can help
and-
them out.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a ruse. He's always doing these moves to make himself look better. I would be,
I asked and I never saw him. I never saw him being in. They got the cards and my pendulum said no. But also they have a rule that if you are under indictment or could be indicted for at least 2 years, you can't be Speaker of the House.
Well, that is great. And in a way, I would hope he would take it, because his astrology right now is so bad that I think if he took it in the so-called short term, it would be awful. It would just pile on him. Right now, it's piling on him already through that trial and all the problems he's having. So you just add another point, because the astrology is really bad. So he'd get in there and he'd be mercilessly, ridiculed and attacked and so forth. So I find that the odds of that are low.
And he's done a whole bunch of lawsuits. He's saying that they can't indict him on the Fulton case because he was found not guilty as a president. So you can't do that, which is a bunch of bull, because he was found guilty. He just wasn't thrown in prison or thrown out of the house.
Like, put it this way, when there are entry points where he could actually challenge something, we're going to hear about it. There are lots and lots of really good lawyers. This is the thing about the US media. People are, the media here is really good. I mean, look at how General Kelly comes out. Everything he said, I already knew. They had told us that last year, right? He just confirmed it. He said, look, yeah, he said these things. I had heard it all. So, there are lots of lawyers that would be telling us, look out, because he can do this, he can do that. They're all saying the same thing. He can do nothing. He's stuck. He's got to get through it. He's going to throw things at the wall. This is wrong. This is this. This is that. Keep talking. Go ahead.
I always saw the Supreme Court turn their back on him. Like, it's too much for them even.
Yeah, no. And the thing is, the Supreme Court is its own branch of government. What do they have to gain by putting themselves at risk with such a lawless character? By the way, he's not loyal. He's only loyal. He wants loyalty, but he's not loyal. So suppose he became president. How's he going to help the Supreme Court? He'll probably do something to hurt them as well. Plus, they're probably wondering, like, do we really want to have a person like this in power? Or even, okay, let's just look at it, forget all that, no politics. He doesn't have any evidence. You know, the Supreme Court, they're actual judges who rule cases. They look at evidence. He doesn't have anything. You know, he keeps saying, I got this, I got that. He's got nothing. So then what are they going to rule on? You know, remember that back then he was all upset. He said, oh, they didn't listen to my cases. They said I had no standing. I did have standing. No, you didn't. They told you 62 cases said, no, you have no standing. Trump just talks. He yaps, right? This is the man that he keeps saying
And he
things.
couldn't believe, and that's when he turned on Kavanaugh. You remember that?
Yeah, right, right. Well, sure. But I mean, you know, Kavanaugh's a judge. I mean, in the end, you know, he's got to follow the rules. I remember people were saying, look at all these Trump judges that are saying no, you know, because they follow the law as well.
They follow the law, yeah.
Because if they don't follow the law, then it gets appealed and it goes to the Fifth Circuit. It turns into a mess. So they have to follow general principles,
Right.
which I think, by the way, is a really good thing that in this country we have rule of law, even if it's slow, whatever. I'm really happy that maybe we have to wait, but we know there's a general sense of this is the way it works. He's screaming and yelling, oh, I paid all the banks back. It doesn't matter. You defrauded the system. That's against the law. Can't do that. Plain and simple. You got
And
caught.
I'd be interested when he paid them back. Did he pay them back when he knew they were looking at it, you know?
Well, you know, and then
But it doesn't matter, like you said.
I love that line. If they can do it to me, they can do it to you. No, not if I don't inflate my assets, they won't. Right? I mean,
Not if I don't cheat and
yeah,
rip people off.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, you know how they're always talking about how, well, Republicans are going to get in power and then they're going to start indicting all the Democrats. For what? What are you going to indict for? You can indict Menendez. He's pretty clear. But the rest, for what? You got to have something.
You know, Menendez is going down. There's no.
Oh, yeah. No, Menendez.
If and their butts. He's going down.
Well, by the way, I didn't know this. I saw in today's New York Times, his wife, she hits on with her car and they're hiding it. And then she said, the guy ran into my windshield and started thinking, wait, what? He was declared intoxicated, but she was not tested. This is not good. There's something very weird and complicated in the background there. And I know he's a Democrat, but I'd stay away from that guy.
Well, we got one in all the batches, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got a thing today, just by the by. I think Dan sent it to me from CBS News that Trump allegedly discussed U.S. nuclear subs with foreign national after leaving the White House. So Jack has all this information. Apparently, he disclosed because this Australian bigwig said, "Oh, we should buy your submarines," and he proceeded to tell him how many nukes we have on the submarines, how close we can get to Russian submarines with these submarines. And this guy had a big mouth and told everybody. He told media, he told his friends. That's how Jack found out about it.
Yeah.
So,
No, are you surprised? I'm not.
No, but I just want to know. I mean, no wonder Jack is so upset and really wants to get everything away from him. But I think he's pretty well spilt the beans.
Well, he's you just can see one of the things with astrology is when you see cycles coalescing, you know, coming together, and they're already established dates. Next spring and into early summer is really bad. And that's when the trials are supposed to happen. So how can you interpret that other than in the bad way that the cycles say that it'll be? And I remember hearing experts saying, in fact, I think Bill Barr said this, you know, these are lawyers, they're very familiar with this stuff, right? And I think Bill Barr said, you know, I read that indictment and he said, it's really good, but you can tell that Jack Smith is holding back a lot of stuff. I thought, oh, wow, that's pretty interesting.
I don't recall that. Yeah.
Oh, no, he said that. Yeah. He said, this thing is pretty sparse. And he said, it's almost certain they have a lot more. Well, a lot more is what you just said. He'll go into court and go,
they're
well,
going
what
to
about
fill
this
in
guy?
the blank spots.
Yeah. You talk to nuclear subs with whoever. That's major crime, you know. So the only thing that I wish is that the rules were the same for the feds, the televised, because it doesn't look like they're going to do that. But that's okay, because we'll be able to see the TV for Georgia. And so that'll start the ball rolling pretty neatly as we see the Kraken lady, you know, doing her thing, and the cheese man trying to defend himself.
I love it. I love it.
You know, they're going to be talking about Trump because when they're making the case, they're trying to point everything at Trump, right? So we're going to see lots of the Trump malfeasance right away in the fall now. We don't have to wait till next year.
I know, isn't it wonderful?
I know, it's wonderful, totally. I know.
So, Dear Ross said, love when you two collaborate. It's always a treat. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a
treat. We
pleasure
got-
for us. We
Yeah.
enjoy it a lot.
We sure enjoy it. With the solar eclipse of October 14th of this year and April 8th next year, will that have any input on Putin?
Yes. Yes, to both. Well, actually, hold on. Let me check. Let me
Okay,
check next year's where it is. I know this year's is the one now is 21 degrees Libra. So that one, Putin is a Libra, and also Trump. It's affecting him because he's got planets cutting across there, Venus, Saturn, and so forth. Next year, it is Aries, so it's the opposite side. So yes, on both counts, absolutely. I would probably say probably next year is worse than this year's, but it's a close second. They're in there. Those are difficult eclipses because when they cut across your planets, they turn everything on, right? And neither person has a particularly great situation. Trump's worse than Putin, but Putin's isn't great. You know, Putin's, one of the things that's going on with him is he's getting a Jupiter return, which is sort of holding him up, but it's not in a great place. And his health continues to be a big question mark. And remember how we said in previous videos that one of the tells on the trajectory is that Putin is an Libra with a lot of planets in Libra, and Saturn enters Aries post the election, which is opposite, which is not a good thing. It's just not a good thing. That's a great way to say, you know, situation gets worse. So yeah.
And
not a-
I'm here for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I asked you to look up possible, well, the two guys that are up front now are Scalise and Jim Jordan for being, I know Trump is it. Don't ask me how I know. I just psychically, spiritually know. He's going down so hard, he's got no choice but to stand down. Anyway, so Scalise, and then the guy, initially when I heard that McCarthy was out, I felt Scalise. But I don't like him, but I felt him. But when I looked, it said no. It feels like it's more somebody like Tom Cole from Oklahoma.
Well, I looked at the charts of Jordan, Scalise, Cole, and McHenry. There'll probably be others, but of those four, the best one is Cole's. Now,
Really? Isn't that
yeah,
interesting?
now the thing though is that, remember, that's without a time, because when you have no time of birth, you only have the day of birth. What happens is that all that you need to completely change the outcome is
A time.
Taurus rising. You know, the person is Taurus right, Jupiter is going through there, or maybe Jupiter really elevated at the MC with a certain time for that, and it changes the panorama completely. So we don't know. But my feeling is if I put together just the day with what I know of the politics, it feels to me like Scalise is a better bet than Jordan, because Jordan is too extreme, and there'll be too many regular Republicans in that caucus that are not going to vote for him.
Yeah.
Scalise has a better chance, but Scalise also is McCarthy's ally. That could get complicated in a hurry as well. So I'm not sure about Scalise's chances either, you know, whether he can get in there. When I looked at the charts, Jordan's is not good, not bad, but in my opinion, not good enough, you know, to get the speakership. And same with Scalise. McHenry, a little better, actually. I would say it goes Cole and McHenry from those that are there so far. But
McHenry, is he the guy from Tennessee?
no, he's from McHenry's from, you mean like originally?
No, I don't know. There was a guy that was out there furious at Matt Gaetz
No,
for,
North Carolina.
oh, North Carolina.
North Carolina, but he's got an okay setup in that. What was it that I saw that I liked in his chart? He's got the moon in Taurus, probably that helps. And then he's got, oh, I know what it is. He's a Libra and he has Venus in Virgo, and the Venus is getting a really nice aspect from Jupiter. So it's potentially possible but then he has a lot of Pluto too. More likely, he's just like a stepping stone to the next thing. But he does have a better scenario, in my opinion, than Scalise and Jordan, right? You know,
Okay.
subject to none of these people have birth times; they're all birthdays. You know, so yeah.
Right. Well, this guy from Oklahoma seems to be more moderate, not cray cray. He feels like he's, like Jordan went out to impeach Biden with nothing. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. He's never passed a bill. He's a nothing burger. Never could pass the boards for being an attorney, the bar.
Yeah, and the thing is, when you think about the time we're in, is I saw a few comments on my channel. Oh my God, if they put in Jim Jordan, God help us. No, because if you put in Jim Jordan, he's a total dimwit. Think about it. This guy is leading the impeachment, and he starts the impeachment off. First witness says, "We got nothing here," and then sits down and says, "Like, why are you doing the impeachment?" I mean, your role as a leader is to organize yourself and plan what you're doing.
That's something Pelosi would have never done.
Right. So they're not very sharp. So you make them speaker, it means, yeah, the whole thing is in chaos till the election. How's that a bad thing? That's good for Democrats. But if you say, no, okay, they put in a more moderate person, then they'll be able to govern. But that also is good for Democrats, because if you're governing, then the country's, moving along, and you can't really make a good case. So I think they're in a loser position, these guys, no matter what. There's nowhere to turn. But I would say, though, that because of the Pluto station in October, which we're in now, and the eclipse, I would be totally amazed if it didn't take at least 10 days or more. I think for a while they're going to be dithering around, arguing. I don't think
I saw a couple of weeks go by,
Yeah,
and then we're
exactly.
going to be looking at the budget.
Yeah, something. I mean, the odds of it just being resolved immediately are low, both because
And Jordan, well, what I think, this is what my hit was. Of course, Jordan will say no money for Ukraine, period. Okay. So I feel that the Democrats are saying, you guys figure it out. We're not, this is up to you. But I almost feel like somebody like Cole or somebody might work with the Democrats and say, look, I will help make sure we get a budget, we help Ukraine and blah, 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 even if he gets the wrath of the Republicans and they bring, once again, the Democrats bring him through. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, and and you probably have heard the background noise is that there's going to be an exchange for from the two parties, more money for border enforcement in exchange for more money for Ukraine. That's actually a good deal for Biden. Biden needs to do something about the border, because the border, there's too much negative media around
And
it.
it's coming. He already started, though. He's building more of a wall and stuff. Yeah.
Well, whatever. I mean, if you take that side, you really reduce a lot of the background noise. So I would actually counsel Biden, listen, even if you upset the left or, the whoever, I mean, honestly, this is not the time for you to be talking about asylum, and just cut it off. Go for a period, go along with them, get Ukraine happening and get this thing rolling, because we're going toward an election. Bad idea if you start, holding on to that particular topic, in my opinion.
Exactly. I felt the same way. That's so funny you said that, because I thought he needs to deal with the border, even if it looks bad.
Yeah. Well, to that would look bad to the people in the Democratic Party who want more liberal rules. But I just think the timing
right
is
now, until the Democrats are back in place, just like with them telling Nancy Pelosi to get out of that office. The first thought that came to my mind was, oh yeah, go ahead, she'll be back.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's with Pelosi. I think it's the temporary. When I looked at her chart, it just felt like a temporary event.
Yeah,
but Pelosi has a cluster of planets in Taurus, Jupiter's there. There's no problem with Pelosi. She'll probably be front and center of something pretty much immediately. It's just that it's a bit of an insult to be told.
and told while she's at Dianne Feinstein's funeral.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly.
So Senator Feinstein passed away. And apparently I felt her days before almost comatose, but apparently she showed up to work and died that night.
Yeah, no, it's really something. And Then you get into all the arguments about age and everything else. And by the way, her chart is to the minute, and her chart it's an example of how people will often think that Jupiter, being the great benefactor, always helps you. Well, in this case, unless you want to say the reason is because Jupiter helped her by getting her out of the mess of life, and taking her to a better place. But Jupiter was implicated in her passing. But of course, she was 90, so
Yeah,
the thing is, in her chart, Jupiter had health connections. It lived in the health house. So you see how you get this very interesting thing where it both gave her longevity, but at a certain point, because of this other problem that it has, it became part of the alignment that explains her passing around this time.
right, right.
Yeah.
So Dr. DRC said, is the chaos of the Republican side of the House of Representatives going to be balanced? And that's not going to happen. You even said so for a couple of years. We're still going to have
no.
heartache with them.
Well, I mean, I don't know what if you ask that about the near term, it is possible. One of the outcomes is that they put in someone more moderate, as you said, and then they are more balanced going into next year. But then I don't think that's enough for them to keep the House, though. My
Okay.
sense is that no. So, but yeah, the chaos that may improve. I mean, it'll have to improve, or we're going to have a total circus.
Well, what will help is in the 2024 elections if the Democrats are running the Senate and the House again. Because that's what the people with a good set of noggin there are telling everybody on the news. Look what you're doing. There's nothing here that's going to make Republicans vote for us again. You're handing the Democrats the House. Because it's like, why would we vote for these? And especially if we go into default.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's plain as daylight, and it's remarkable to see, the number of people in that group, just how dim a light bulb they are. All of them. I mean, look at McCarthy. So McCarthy, he just passed something because of the Democrats, and he had already irritated the Democrats many times with backtracking, lying. And then he goes on TV right away and he says it's all the Democrats, their fault and all this. So then they just didn't vote for him. And then after he got bounced, they're all on TV. Oh, it was all the Democrats' fault. Well, wait a second. It's your speaker. Why are you blaming the Democrats? They just agreed that, yeah, we're not going to vote for him. We're going to vote
Yeah,
for
well, and then the lady that he was talking to, he said the Democrats are the reason. She said, wait a second. They just voted for you.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. They
But
voted.
that's how they act. They crap their pants and they're acting like nobody can smell it.
Yeah, no, I know. It's completely true. And yeah. I mean, what are you going to say? All around, they're not. I mean, McCarthy, if you were a thinking person, if you're about to do that, go talk to Hakeem, cut a deal, and say, hey, if I do this for you, and then they try to bounce me, can you hold me up, and then we can work on other things. Because he's not going to be able to work with those people anyway. He could have taken this all the way to the election and using Democratic help pass some legislation. It's a much better deal than doing this and losing the job, which is what he so much wanted and everything else. So
yeah.
Exactly.
Well, he did this to himself.
Yeah, no, and by the way, he had the Saturn. So I mean, you could see it in his chart that it was very, very risky during this period. So I had said in January, I'll be amazed if he makes it till the spring of 24. Well, he didn't even make it to the end of 23. So yeah, of course. Yeah.
I think I said 8, but it was 9 months. But listen, somebody just wrote, Barb said, will the IRS charge the Trump and family with criminal tax evasion based on the fraud trial? And it's so funny this person is saying this because psychically I picked up that he's in huge trouble with the IRS. I've been saying this for a while. What are you getting? Anything?
Well, I'll just say this. This is where the astrology just lumps it into one basket. The place in his chart where he's getting all the pressure right now, in particular through the Letitia James trial, is because Saturn is in the house of banks, insurance, and taxes. So you tell me.
There you go.
I mean, that's where the IRS is. The bottom line is, if the IRS smells money, they're going to go look for it. And, you know, people like this, you know, when he was president, he was probably using the IRS to attack other people because he was president and he's totally corrupt. Once you're not president, gloves are off, you know? It's
Yeah.
it's like an ex-athlete. You don't get any privileges once you're not on the tour anymore. They come after you. So, yeah, I could see that totally.
Yeah, he's gonna be like Giuliani. His attorneys walked out. How's Giuliani's chart looked at?
Giuliani's a mess. He's a total mess.
It's really bad.
Well, these, by the way, again, let's not confuse people because this seems to come up every time we say the Geminis, and it's remarkable how many, you know, Geminis are in government right now that are not very nice Geminis. But that doesn't mean that if you're a Gemini, you're the same way. You're free
Jack
to
Smith
express.
is a Gemini. Yeah.
Exactly, the high end or the low end. But Giuliani has planets in, I believe he's also a Gemini. I think he's Gemini, and he has Saturn there. So he's a classic case of Gemini. Same with Trump. Barr, not so much. Barr escaped most of the punishment, but MTG is Gemini. Matt Gaetz is Gemini. That's another one that, you know, Matt Gaetz is at risk of something. He's got to get to about maybe February or March, because between now and there, it is risky. I don't know what from. Maybe I don't know, ethical violation. I don't know, something, but he's at risk. And MTG is not doing well either because Saturn is in the midst. And people like this, they do very poorly with Saturn because they have no discipline. And so a person with no discipline who runs around just doing things for selfish reasons, and, you know, they leave all kinds of trails, all kinds of evidence, then it gets them in trouble.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the pillow guy? Did you ever take a look?
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of that, earlier today, I was actually working on a video on the pillow guy. Yeah. The pillow guy is, you can see the financial hit. I mean, the guy's going broke because of all the planets currently. And then when you get into 25, 26, it's even worse because then it's his sun sign, which is usually when it really falls on you in a more major way. But yeah, he's hurting, and he's hurting for good reason. Another total dimwit. I'm sorry. These people, they don't think clearly. They don't think ahead. They dive into things. He is both going broke because of the banks are not lending him money, and he's looking at a lawsuit from Dominion. And why? Because he said things.
And he was going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this voting was stolen. And he threw all kinds of money into these TV shows and stuff.
Yeah, so no, not good. I mean, the pillow guy, he is hurting, and like I often in my videos, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. You know,
my ex-mother-in-law sent me those pillows. They were the worst pillows I've ever used.
Did you see him though in the deposition? He did a deposition. You know, Mike Lindell was in a deposition, and the guy, at one point, he was getting really hostile. He was saying, "Shut up!" And then at one point, the guy said, he said something about a pillow. One of those. He made an insulting remark about his pillow, and Lindell got really mad. He goes, "You're an a-hole. You're an a-hole. Don't tell me that it's a bad pillow. It's a great pillow." He went on this tirade. Anyway,
It's horrible. It just has cubes of foam in it. It was terrible. I tried it and I threw it out. This is before Trump was even in office.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know.
Lorraine says Andre talked about 4 dual signs a while back. He named Pisces and Gemini. The other 2 I don't remember, as I had never heard of them described that way. To be honest, I've always considered Gemini and Pisces. The third one for me has always been Libra. I say this because they are always striving for balance, but in reality, that is a goal, not a constant state for Libra. Could Andre consider this and comment?
Yeah, the 4 signs are Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces. Those are the true dual signs. Libra is only dual in the sense that because it's the sign of the scales, there's sometimes indecision with Libra, but don't be fooled. Librans, they show up in politics a lot. They're really strong take action signs, even despite their supposed indecision. So I would not put them in dual category. It's Gemini, Sag, Virgo, Pisces. That's the pure, you know, and you see things like, for instance, if someone has a dual sign in the marriage house, they might have two relationships going at the same time, things like that, because of the duality. Yeah, I'm not making that up. It's entirely possible. So
No, I believe you. I believe you. So listen, Soul Artist said, Beto O'Rourke, is there a possibility he could win the Senate seat?
I haven't looked at his chart in ages. But
Okay.
he was in the background of my. What about you? What do you think about Beto O'Rourke?
I've always saw good news for him. I've always shocked that he lost. I think Texas cheated. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, Texas. Yeah, Texas is pretty notorious, right? Let's see. So he's a Libra. Well, I mean, let's see. Moon and so the what would he be running for? Senate against Ted Cruz?
I think so. He lost once before. He could try again. Not good.
It's not great. I wouldn't. Well, no, actually, well, hold on a second. No, maybe because Jupiter will be in Gemini. It'd be really great if sometimes with these people, here's another one. There's no known time. So all that Libra though, if he's running against Ted Cruz, then he does have a shot because Libra is getting a lot of Jupiter help in 2024, and Cruz is not getting that kind of help. And Cruz is, they both look after the election, they both look like a lot of responsibility, thrown at them. And if anything, that matches O'Rourke better than Cruz, because, well, provided unless Cruz were to win. But see, for Cruz, I don't think he'd look at it the same way. I think with Cruz, he cruises, no pun intended. He's already in Congress. I don't think he'd be too concerned if he's in there. He just does the same old thing. So yeah, it fits. It's pretty good. Based on just today, I think O'Rourke has a shot. So I'll go with you on this one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Fingers
crossed. Yeah. If that's what it is, because are we totally sure that it's O'Rourke versus Cruz?
Uh-huh.
Is that for
I haven't heard that he's running yet, though.
Who, Cruz or O'Rourke?
O'Rourke.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we're doing a lot of surmising here.
Cruz feels like he's fat and happy, like he's settled in where he's at. They say there's certain seats that are just so given to them that, they'll be geriatric patients when they leave.
Yeah, but isn't with Cruz, if he's running, then if what you say is true, then O'Rourke wouldn't have a chance, right?
Yeah. But I know it's hard. I'm so scared because I've already predicted twice he would win and he didn't win either one of those. Or he did win and he got cheated out of it.
Yeah. Well, depending on a lot's going to depend on if someone can dig up his birth time, it would really help, to make a better prediction. But it's not bad. It's a pretty good. That's pretty good.
Maybe I'll try to get his birth time. I'll call my peoples and see if anybody can get the down low.
Yeah, and it's not bad if you're running in a situation to win something and you see Jupiter in alignment to several planets, that's always a good thing. That adds a measure of luck and help and everything. And so, yeah, it's definitely there.
Most of these questions are about Trump being speaker. I'm going to tell you guys something right now. I definitely can tell you psychically, and there's some things I know so strongly that I can assure you he will not be speaker. If you had said anything else via the signs, I would have been surprised. But you also acknowledge he's not going to be speaker, you guys. The Democrats that are in there won't let it happen.
I actually don't even know that I really read it through the signs. Through the signs, basically, the way I would call that is he would think of it as just another major hassle at this point, not a particularly easy thing, and also putting himself at great risk of damaging his already very damaged reputation, because it's too out there. That's why he doesn't go to debates. This guy doesn't want to go anywhere where someone can challenge him directly. It's too dangerous, right? So he always does soliloquies, finds people that will let him talk. He's not going to go on CNN or MSNBC. That's not going to happen, you know, because the
And
questions are too
also
rough.
he would stand in front of those people and just talk about himself and his woes and look at how unfair it is.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, can you imagine if you're Speaker of the House, you're giving the Democrats 5-minute blocks to go to town on you? Not good.
No,
You know, like that woman waving the picture, you know, and she said, look where the records were.
I know.
Uh,
Josephine says, greetings, the natal planet transits and progressions, how do they melt in the reading of the chart like Trump's? Are the planet progressions important?
They are the planet progressions, especially if you have a birth time, then you can progress the ascendant, which can be impossible to do. You can't do it unless you have a time. But even if you don't have the time, progressions can reveal, put it this way, they add something important. The transits are first, where the planets are today relative to where they were. That's number one. Then progressions, and then finally, beyond that would be solar arcs. But yeah, long answer to say, progressions are part of it in adding a definite thing. They were there, by the way, for very strongly for Feinstein as well, the progressions, because she had an accurate time. So her ascendant, you could track it, and it was where correlated with that. Let's just say, you know, it had that kind of feel to it.
Right. How is our president looking like, Biden?
Yeah, Biden, one of the things that I have to make a video about this because it's fascinating. I have this sense from the cycles that this whole thing with his age is going to start fading in the spring, because up to the spring, the problem is that up to the spring is that Saturn is poorly placed. So then Saturn is a planet of old age and time. And so people are saying, oh, you're too old and, you know, nobody likes you. Saturn by the spring starts to move into harmonious alignment. So then if anything, it either becomes an asset or else they stop talking about it and it becomes much less of an issue. So I wouldn't sweat it. And then going into the election, I wouldn't say it's a perfect chart, but it's definitely way, way stronger than Trump's by a mile, you know.
Really? Thank you.
Orders of magnitude. And then there's Kamala, who is especially strong around the election. So, you know, I look at that and I think she's part of it too. You know, she's in the running. And if you see a person's chart and you think, oh, that's pretty happy, and then they lose, that they wouldn't be happy, right? So it's a pretty standard thing.
So the woman they put in to replace Dianne Feinstein, I think she'll be a good person, but I don't see her taking the place.
Oh,
I
that
don't see her
yeah.
winning that spot. I really like Barbara Lee, but I'm almost feeling Adam Schiff will get that spot.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't looked at that one at all, but just on the personalities, I know that who's it, Katie Porter?
Yeah.
She's running. The only thing is, you know, Schiff is really quite formidable. So just even without looking at planets, if you're running against Schiff, you better be really good, because
he's really
is
smart.
really,
I
really
mean,
good. And
I'm not, oh yes, Adam Schiff, because I thought he did real good during the hearings. But
no,
and I like
really
Katie
smart.
Porter too, but I just don't see them getting the votes like Adam Schiff will get.
Yeah, and I'll be looking at that one because I believe if they're California born, there'll be time birth dates for them around. So
Yes,
so
good.
that's a good one to try to study, because it seems to me that it's probably between Porter and Schiff, probably, right? Likely, rather than Barbara Lee. I don't know.
Yeah. But this woman, she just came in. I think she'll get a taste of it and enjoy it.
Mhm.
But I don't see people voting for her. I don't think she's been around long enough.
Right. And who she's running against, because, you know.
Yeah, Adam Schiff is like a giant.
He's
Yeah.
big. Yeah.
A lot of experience.
I wish that Biden had made him the attorney general. Too bad.
Yeah. Oh my
He would have been
God.
a great attorney general.
You know,
We're in.
have you taken a look-see at Merrick Garland? Because every time I see him doing an interview, he starts to choke up and cry.
Yeah, the thing with him is that he is the main aspect that is holding him back is he's got a Neptune square, and Neptune squares are both emotional and a bit confused. He's just not. I mean, I sometimes think, man, come on. I mean, this stuff is
Snap out of it. Be me.
because to me, this is how they got Bob Mueller. You know, that you can't go in there and hem and haw. Be very direct, and he's such a nice guy that in a sense he's diminishing himself. You know, it would be better for him to be plainer, and he could say things like, if I were him, I would say, look, you know, all this violence that's happening, I just want you to know that we were going to apply the law to everybody, and if you commit violence, you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
He did say that.
Well, but say it emphatically.
I
So
know his
maybe
voice
he didn't say
quivers.
it.
That,
Right, but
I
like,
want to just tell him, snap out of it.
yeah, like, I mean, in other words, making statements that are a little bit more direct, you know, where you let people know this isn't cool and we're not going to tolerate it, right? And I think he did say it, but he always says it in a way to offend as few people as possible, which I know that's in a way
Yeah.
more bipartisan, all that stuff, right? But you know,
I don't know, and I don't know if you took a look, see, but I don't think he'll do another term I just don't.
you think that he quits?
I'm thinking he might tell Biden, you know what, see if you can get somebody like Jack Smith in there.
Well, that would be a pretty good change, right?
Yeah, because Jack Smith don't mess.
Yeah, although Jack Smith, his effectiveness is because he is the special counsel. Because if you make Jack Smith, well, then you need a really good special counsel. Because if you're going to go after other people, it's usually not a good idea for the person and the actual attorney general to get too enmeshed, so they accuse you of bias. But no, actually, Garland, post-election, it's pretty good. It's pretty good
Really?
because,
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, it might help post-election that Trump is going up, you know, the river.
Well, no,
And he
I'm
doesn't
saying,
have to deal with that drama. Because I'm going to tell you that energy of these cray-crays, like you heard some guy already showed up at some governor's place with a gun and they sent him home, and then he came back with an AR and then they arrested him. Evers, he came out to kill Evers. This is going to happen more often.
yeah, for sure.
But once
sure.
the cray-crays hurt somebody or actually kill somebody of value, that's when the nation says enough. That's when it's like, no, we don't want these cray-crays here.
Yeah, I'm seeing that upon further reflection, he does have 3 different planets in Libra. Saturn is opposite itself. That sometimes can be, you're just tired of it. So it's possible, yeah, that he would, yeah, I could probably.
Maybe he's happier because he come out of that and he can rest, you know?
Yeah.
You know how hard it was for him to go in there and work in a place that the Secret Service was working for Trump?
Oh, totally.
The Secret Service deleted messages? That is awful.
It's brutal. And the thing is that I kind of understand what he did, because I think he saw that there was momentum building toward forming a committee to investigate. And I think he wanted the cover, because he probably thought, if I jump in there and announce that I'm investigating Trump, I'm going to start another fire here. And he didn't want to start a fire. So he waited for the January 6th committee. But I think he could have worked more with him. He should have done more to not give the impression that he was just, you know, fiddling around, not looking at
people
Trump.
were getting furious at him on MSNBC. People were like, where the hell is he? What is he doing?
Yeah, no, exactly. So,
but he really is a good man. He's a good man.
Totally, but yeah. No, and he's a Scorpio. I mean, don't underestimate a Scorpio. Because Scorpios are, in the end, they will follow the criminal line and they'll apply it. So,
hey, did you ever take a look, see at the judge that's doing this fraud case in New York?
There's no time for him. It just says he's no even birthday. You
know, okay.
His name, Arthur Ergeron. It says he's approximately, like, they throw a year at you. There's no day. So if someone sends me the day, I'd be happy to look at it. I did look at Chutkan, and she is definitely at odds with Trump, of course, as you would expect. I mean, you know, of course.
Right. But he did it. He's the first one that did a sanction on Trump. Shut your mouth.
Pretty mild though, because all he said is, he said, you're not allowed to talk about my staff, but he didn't say you're not allowed to talk about me. And so then Trump went outside and said, and I can't believe this, Trump said that this guy is a Democrat and he's working with the Democrats to come after me. That's unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah, and he talked about James, and they all said, yeah, we'll take it. He's an idiot.
yeah, well, I mean, to me, I don't totally know the rules. I obviously wouldn't be able to be a judge, because I would have told Trump, if you mention my name, I'm going to throw you in jail immediately, even if you do it
Right.
indirectly. I'm going to send the marshals over and you're going to go to jail. Don't talk about me. Don't ever refer to this trial with me in the middle of it, period. But it sounds like you're not allowed to do that for the judges. That's one of the weaknesses in the democracy, where free speech, supersedes common sense, because
Let me ask you something, table turned. You don't think a Republican judge that Trump loves wouldn't tell people, get my name out your mouth? Don't you dare talk about me and get away with it.
I don't know if it's allowed. Some of these things we have to be careful and research it, because I don't totally know the rules. And I'm pretty sure, though, that if it was standard, to say you're not allowed to mention the judge, don't you think Chutkan and this guy would have said already, you can't talk about me? And none of them are doing this.
That's true.
It feels a
Yeah,
bit.
but then he had his staff a fake picture with Chuck Schumer, calling that her boyfriend. He's such a low life, and this is the same guy that gives away nuclear secrets about our submarines. What an idiot! And Putin made a comment that he already had all the information he needed from Trump, and he did. Trust me, Trump just kept handing him stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's no question. There's no question.
Well, my friend, we put in some time here. I don't know how long, but it's 6 o'clock.
About an hour, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, time goes by.
We did do a little gossip beforehand, the 411.
Yeah. When you and I talk, the time flies.
Yeah, time
flies. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, my friend. So I won't hear from you again till for a month or so then.
No, you'll probably hear from me.
Okay.
Don't worry. You'll hear from me, but I don't know where I'll be exactly. So it's
But the next time it's on your show, so you gotta.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, my friend. I'm doing good physically. I'm doing really good.
Oh yeah, I didn't even ask you about that. So you're everything good?
Everything
well?
good.
Awesome.
People have sent so many goodies. Oh my God, it's just too much. Look I even got this banky.
Wow, nice. Snuggle up.
Snuggle up. Snuggle up. All right, my friend.
All right. Bye, everyone.
You take care. Bye, everyone.